there, everyone. Welcome to Weekly Weather Brief. We're getting you caught up on this week's weather, science, all sorts of things, cool activities of the week.
We're going to the moon.
We're going to space for sure this week. A lot of cool science stuff. I'm meteorologist Kerrin, Jeromin, alongside my fabulous co-host.
Good morning, and I'm meteorologist Emily Gracey. We're so thrilled to be back. We took a little break last week. We are back and at it, and lots to talk about this week, Kerrin. And I don't know if you noticed,
so much.
I'm not in my usual place, and that's because I'm at a conference. I'm at a tropical conference because we are, a couple months now from the beginning of hurricane season. So I'm actually in South Padre Island, Texas, for the National Tropical Weather Conference. Great information. The Hurricane Center is here. It's like a workshop / conference / collaboration, and it's 3 days of amazing presentations and just a lot of great talking to people. Yeah.
Very cool. Geeks Unite. We love a good weather conference.
Yes, for sure. What happened here this week at the conference is the release of the outlook for the hurricane season from Colorado State University. We hear about it every year right about this time, and they do the press conference here at the conference. So Colorado State University puts out their tropical outlook for the year, their expected number of named storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes, and they put out that outlook yesterday. Phil Klotzbach, who I actually got a chance to chat with, and a super cool guy, very high energy, lots of fun. So I talked to him yesterday, and they released that information. So for the year, they are predicting a slightly below average season, which is refreshing to hear. Yes. But they're expecting 13 named storms, and 6 of those becoming hurricanes and 2 of those becoming major hurricanes. Now, there's no indication yet, like where, when this would all happen, but the indicators here, the main indicator is something else that was new yesterday, is that we're no longer in La Nina. So NOAA put out, this is it, we're done with La Nina, we're going into the neutral phase, we're expecting a very strong El Nino. And that, as we both know and as we've talked about in recent weeks, is going to mean a less hurricane activity in the Atlantic. So that's the takeaway here from what we got yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're taking in a lot of information. So recapping, right? Colorado State University is one entity that puts out hurricane season forecasts, and they're very well renowned and very great at what they do. They've got a great equation, if you will, to come up with that. It's not just straight math, but a lot of factors that they look at globally to say, like, okay, how will this season pan out? Are we going to have these explosive storms? Are we going to have a bunch of them? And every year they do release this forecast and then verify it at the end of the season. So them saying a little below average is, it's one of the first hurricane season forecasts that come out, but often we see that NOAA is in line with the same thing. They're all kind of looking at similar factors. And so, it's a sigh of relief, I suppose, for not having an active hurricane season. But as we all know, it really doesn't matter how active it is. What matters is a landfall, right? If we have a landfalling hurricane like last season, there was one big one, Melissa, that was absolutely devastating. It really doesn't matter how many storms you get in a season, but it is a technical thing that we like to monitor about like number of named storms, thresholds of winds, that sort of thing. And this is one of the best forecasts. So glad to hear that they think it's going to be a little less active as far as the overall number of storms.
Yeah, and it's interesting to I'm like a fly on the wall here. So listening to Colorado State talking to the Hurricane Center, and yes, they're in agreement. We are expecting this. But there is, like you said, that caveat of like, it just takes one. They always say that, and we know that. We know that from Melissa. We know that from Helene. But it does become exhausting when you get like storm after storm after storm, and you just live in like a whole season of anxiety of what's going to happen here. So it is nice to have that sigh of relief, perhaps. I mean, it depends. The Hurricane Center brought this up too. El Nino, if it's delayed a little bit, yes, we're expecting a strong one, but if it's delayed a little bit till like October after we get over that peak of the season, that it means nothing. So still so important to prepare no matter what.
Bingo. There's the takeaway right there. So just because it's a below active season doesn't mean you're clear, right? Yeah, definitely do your preps especially if you're in one of the more vulnerable areas. But we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it in hurricane season 2. It really doesn't matter if you're way inland in like Tennessee or something, you still have risks from even leftover tropical systems. So more on that to come. The hurricane forecast, we thank Colorado State University for their great work for giving us early insight to the season.
Yes.
Emily, I also was traveling Yeah, I was also traveling this week a bit for personal things. And so, despite travel, despite being completely distracted, the number one thing that caught my attention was not so much weather, but it was cool science, which I love good geeking out about cool science. It was the Artemis 2 mission. Right, we missed last week's episode, but that would have been 100% what we would have talked about.
Yeah.
The Artemis 2 mission out to space. Yeah, we're going back to the moon and did so successfully. And this week, the crew on Artemis 2 did a flyby the moon on Monday and caught these incredible pictures. I know you haven't had a chance to get caught up on these pictures, but I was sitting here for like an hour just staring at these amazing photos of the folks on Artemis 2 and on the mission, rather, taking pictures of essentially the dark side of the moon, looking back at Earth. And they're just so, like, it looks like what should have been on my middle school Trapper Keeper. They're just, you remember those things? The Trapper Keepers?
Yes, I do. Do you have a Lisa Franklin? Those are the cool ones.
You know I did. I mean, those were a little more colorful. These are like black and white gorgeous with Earth in the background. Let me just reference some notes here. So, right, this happened on Monday, April 6th. They did the flyby, a historic flyby, by the way. This crew has now gone deeper into space than any humans have gone before that we've ever sent, which is very cool. The photos, they capture high-resolution shots of the moon, revealing regions no human has seen before. So now we have things that they captured. Okay, a rare in-space solar eclipse. So meaning the moon perfectly blocking out the sun, which when I think about that is totally mind-boggling to me that it's still like you can still get that perception and that angle from the other side. Okay, I won't go. So a rare in-space solar eclipse, they caught Earth set. So like a sunset, Earth setting behind the moon. Right, so cool. And like just these other really amazing things. They saw craters and actually named a couple of craters, which was a really touching story when they were there. Yeah, that was a moment. I don't know. The pictures just were like, these are real. And sure enough, like most of them are, but there's already AI images going on, which drives me nuts. Why do we need AI when we have such great images as it is? I don't know why. But the 4 astronauts took a 7-hour journey around the far side of the moon. I mean, 7 hours, you know, I go on a trip for like an hour and I've got my entire camera roll is just filled with these pictures. Could you imagine 7 hours worth of seeing this amazing view that no one's seen before? You'd be like, throw out the phone. I don't have any more data. Of course, they're not using phones. Just really incredible stuff. So hopefully we can drop the link to the images in show notes so you too can geek out about them. And I hope you get a chance to get caught up with them too, Emily.
I saw a couple, but I haven't really dug into them like you have. But some of the things that stood out to me too is like the training of these astronauts compared to like Apollo training and how they've been trained in photography. Like they are skilled photographers now because this was so important, and training their eyes to take in all of these craters. And then also, you know, it's cool that they've gone farther than any astronauts gone before, but it's also cool when you look at this team because they did send the first woman to the moon, the first person of color. So, you know, it's like we're doing this thing we did 50 years ago, but it's so upgraded and it meets our times right now. And it's just like so unifying with the world, with the country. And I love it. I love every bit of it. And I can't wait for the future Artemis missions.
I agree. And the crew does come back on Friday afternoon. They should be splashing down in the Pacific off the coast of San Diego this evening. So we wish them a safe journey home and thank them for everything they've given us to totally geek out about. I'm telling you, these pictures are unreal. We do try to make this show 10 minutes or less, and we're pushing our time here. The last thing was it was Safe Place Selfie Day this week. And that is a campaign where basically all of us weather nerds encourage everyone to find your severe weather safe place, wherever that is, your home, your office, and make sure you know what to do before severe weather strikes. So I took a selfie while I was traveling, but I was a day late.
We're going to need to see
does that count?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't taken one at all, but I will. just so that we can show our Safe Place selfies to everyone, because it is important to have that plan in place as we go into severe weather season or whatever hazard you have in your community. And we're going to, of course, in future weeks, talk about all of those.
Yeah, that's the crux, is not to just take a selfie, but to understand and learn something about the severe weather risk in your area. So that's the purpose. Emily, have a great time at the conference. I'm excited to learn more about whatever you take away, and wish you a happy Geek Fest, because that's what weather conferences are all about. I'm lovingly saying that as a geek myself.
I know, you're jealous. Well, awesome to see you and catch up, and I can't wait to dig through those, all of those pictures with Artemis. But of course, thank you to everybody watching and listening. And please, please subscribe, follow on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. And leave us a review and reach out and talk to us about what you want to hear about in future episodes, because we are
Yes. There's a lot more weather happening. Yeah, we know we can't cover everything, but it would be great to hear from you. If something caught your eye, let us know. We'll talk about it on that show.
Awesome. Kerrin, have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too, Emily. Bye, everyone.